and access. All right. Now, when we will have a Salesforce environment set for our organization and we have multiple people working on that, if let's say you have 100 people in your company and all 100 of them working on the same Salesforce environment. Now, one thing is for sure that you would not want everyone to see all the data. And not just data, I'm talking about other things also. Like you don't want everyone to see all the apps, you don't want everyone to see all the tabs, you don't want everyone to see all the objects, right? So what you have to do, you have to define permissions for the users. That which user should have what level of permissions, who should see the data, who can create the data, who can edit, who can delete, who can see see certain apps, who can see certain objects, right? So today we are going to learn about how do we control these permissions and all for users. Okay, so first thing that we use for controlling the permissions is called a profile. Okay, so what is a profile? Profile is a collection of permissions. Okay, profile is a collection of permissions. You put permissions into a profile and the profile is then assigned to the user. Correct? So that is what a profile is. You will put the permissions in the profile and you will assign the profile to users, and based on the profile that a user has, one user can have only one profile. Okay, based on the profile that the user has got, he will have the permissions on Salesforce. Correct? So whatever permissions my profile contains, those permissions I will have as a user. As simple as that. All right. Now, what all permissions can be controlled through the profile? The apps, tabs, objects or tables, fields, right? So which all apps, which all tabs, which all objects, which all fields a user can see, that completely depends on his profile. All right. So all these permissions are defined on the profile. Okay. Any admin permissions that the user has also depends on his profile. Okay. Admin permissions, as in if he can change the data of other users, or can change the password or reset the password for some other user. So admin level permission, whether he can import data or not, whether he can edit the data or not, all that stuff, these are all admin permissions. So those also are part of profile. Any general user permission, this also is a part of profile, right? So all the permissions that a general user requires, all the permission that you require as an administrator, and all these controls, which apps, which tabs, which objects, which fields you see, all these are defined on the profile. Correct? So profile is the first concept here. Now let's go to profile and see how it works. Just give me a minute. Have you please give me your password? Okay. So here we will see the profiles and all. Okay. Profile is under setup. So to view the profiles, you should go to users, setup, manage users, and then profiles. All right. So this is where you will find profiles. Now, once you click on this, you will see a list of all the standard profiles which are already there. Okay. See, a long list of all standard profiles. So Salesforce by default has provided a few profiles. These are all called standard profiles. And in addition to these profiles, you can also have custom profiles. Okay. So there are two types of profiles basically: standard, the ones provided by Salesforce; custom profiles, which we can create, right? So if we are able to manage with the standard profiles, if our requirement are exactly matching the standard profiles, it's good. If we are not okay with the standard profiles, we need some different set of permissions for our users, then we can go ahead and create a custom profile as well. Okay, both the options are there. So you will see that there are so many profiles. Now if you want to see which profile has been assigned to a particular user, then you should go to the list of users. Here you will see what all users you have. Click on this. Against every user, the profile will be mentioned. So this user Ravi Nagar, the currently logged in user, this is the profile for that user. Alright. Now let's just go into this profile. This is a standard profile, system administrator. Let us just go inside this profile and see what all things are there in this profile. Got this? Now if you click on edit on this profile, so this is the profile description. Now if you just click on edit, see what all apps you want to make visible for this particular profile. Then what all tabs you want to make visible for this profile. Then what admin permissions you want to assign to this profile. General user permissions which you want to assign. The object permissions. Out of so many objects, which all objects, what level of permission they will have: read, create, edit, delete, view, modify all. Everything is defined on this profile, right? But one thing that you would notice is the first two things here are editable. This app setting and tab setting. So this is something which I can change, right? I'm able to change these things. Tab setting, which all tabs will be visible, this is also something which I can change, right? But if I scroll down further, these admin permissions, you will see whatever is there, it's not changeable, so you cannot change it. General user permissions you cannot change. Object permissions also, you see, you cannot change it. There is no option to change this, right? The reason why we are not able to change the other things is this is a standard profile and these things cannot be edited on the standard profile. Alright, the only thing that you can edit on a standard profile is the app setting and the tab setting, which all apps and tabs the user will get to see. Okay, so app, application and the tab both are the view components. the front end component, right? So that is something which you can change. All right. But this is all the back end component, object permissions and all that stuff, right? This has got to do with the back end database. We are not able to change anything on that, okay, on the standard profile. So standard profile, only apps and tab setting can be changed. Okay, you cannot change admin permissions, you cannot change user permissions, you cannot change object permissions, nothing. Okay. However, if it is a custom profile, then you can do whatever you want. You can put whatever permissions you want. Okay. So now, if you want to remove this delete access, you want another profile. You want to give your user a profile which looks exactly the same. Okay, which has all these permissions. Just that I don't want that user to have the delete permissions on the object. Possible, right? Sometimes I might want that sort of thing, that I want to give my user all these permissions, just that delete permission I don't want to give. Then what you can do, you can simply clone this profile. The moment you clone it, it will become a custom profile, right? Okay. So we are here on the system admin profile. There's a button to clone it. You can just clone this profile. The moment you clone this, this becomes a custom profile. Okay. And we will put a name for this custom profile. Let's say support admin profile. Whatever name you want to give. Save it. Okay. Now this is a custom profile. This is not standard profile. This is a custom profile which we created. If you click on edit on this, you will see that you have the option of editing everything. App setting, tab setting, admin permissions. You can edit things here. General user permissions, you can edit things here. Standard object permissions, we can edit. Got this? So this is how our profiles work. Clear on this? Let me know if anyone has a question on this. So that's about profiles.
Hello, Jake. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, Sai here. I just have like two questions. One is like, if you have like, can we have like two profiles for a single user?
No.
No.
No. Can have only one profile. Okay. Same profile can be assigned to multiple users. Okay.
Yeah.
So one profile can be assigned to multiple users, but one profile can be one user can have only one profile. That profile.
Okay. And one more doubt is like, if you have like, let me put this in another way. So
you're talking about exceptions.
No. Okay, go ahead, no problem.
No, you asked that question. I mean, are you talking about exceptions that if different people need different types of permissions in the same profile? Are you talking about that?
Yeah.
So we will come to that part. We will handle that also. So there is another tool to take care of that.
Okay.
Fine. So profile concept we have understood. So you will create a profile. Now a simple logic is why we are using profile. The reason for using profiles, we could have straight away given the permissions to the users also, right? But the reason that we are using profile is the reusability and ease of use for assigning permissions and all. So every time you have a user, you don't have to define hundreds of permissions for that user, right? You just see that, okay, fine, this is the kind of profile he needs, just give the profile. So, and if you have to make certain changes, again, you don't have to go to all the users and make changes. You just make certain changes on the profile and it's applicable on everyone, right? So that is the concept here. Now, but what happens in some cases that, now let's understand this way. Let's say I have a sales team and I have created a profile called sales profile for them. Alright. There are 10 people in this sales team and I have created a profile called sales profile. So every user has the sales profile, they are working on sales profile. Okay. Now there is one person in the sales team who is also involved in some sort of HR activities. Let's say Ravi is one part of this team, sales team only, but he also works on some HR assignments. Okay, and hence he needs to see some other objects which are not visible to the sales profile. Okay, so there can be some data or some object which is very specific to HR team. Sales profile does not have access to that. However, Ravi is a part of sales team and he also needs to have some access to the HR objects or HR tabs, right? The HR application that is there, he needs to have some access to that as well. Okay. Now, how will you manage that? How should we achieve that thing? You got the requirement. You know how profile works. Now tell me, what can we do to achieve this thing?
We can have 2 users for Ravi.
We can have 2 users for a week. Okay, that is one thought. Each user will cost you $125. Having a second user will again cost you $125 more. I've seen some people or some companies using same license for 2 people, but buying 2 licenses for same person will be a little difficult. But okay, at least we are thinking on those lines. Good. What other thing can we do?
Can we define some rules that are roles based on those profiles so that it works differently for different users?
Okay, yeah. So we'll see if we have an option to do that. Anything else? No? Okay. So the most common thought which would come to mind is, okay, create another profile for Ravi. If you just have to manage that manage that anyhow, you might create another profile for Ravi and put the sales profile permissions into that plus the HR permissions into that, a custom profile. Okay. But that is again not a very good solution. So whatever we have talked about, we have a few challenges with those solutions, like creating 2 users, that will increase the cost a lot and also make life difficult for this gentleman Ravi, because he will have to log in into 2 different environments every time and all that stuff. So he will not have all the things in one place, and we are also spending more money on that. Second thing, what I talked about, that create one more profile, one custom profile specifically for this gentleman, because he needs access to both the things. But this ways you will end up creating too many profiles and managing things will become difficult for the administrator. So there is another thing which we are going to use here, which is called a permission set. Okay. Permission set is also collection of permissions. Okay. And this is something which can be given to users on top of profiles. as an add-on to the profile. Okay, so there is another thing that we are gonna work with is permission set. What is the permission set? Permission set is additional permissions that you can give to a user. Okay, so you create a permission set, you put certain permissions, and then you can give that permission set to the user. Okay.
This permission set is optional.
Sorry.
Is this optional, the permission set?
This is optional.
Okay.
So this permission set is optional. That's one thing which is correct. Second is one user can have multiple permission sets also. Okay. Now what we have to do here, we just have to create a permission set, put the HR components whichever are required by Ravi, and give this only to Ravi. Then what will happen? The profile is same. All 10 people in the sales team have the sales profile. They get to see all these things. Now because Ravi needs a bit of extra access, what we are gonna do? We are just gonna create a permission set which will include the HR app permissions which he requires, and I will give that permission set as a additional permission to that permission set as an additional set of permissions to Ravi. Got it? So the problem gets solved there. Whoever requires extra access, so permission set is basically meant for defining exceptions to the profiles, right? Profile will keep things very simple for you. The same profiles all the users have, they will have all same permission, so no changes whatsoever. But with permission set you will have that flexibility of giving a few extra permissions to some of the users, right? Got it? Now this is where we have permission sets. Just above this profiles thing you will see the permission sets. Click on permission sets. Click on new. Give it any name, let's say we call it permission set 1. Click on save. So I'm creating a permission set. Okay. Which apps you want to allow on this permission set? Let's say consultant manager is an app which I want to put into this permission set. Okay, so you can put this. Now this permission set has this permission of consultant manager app. Just click on save. If I give this permission set to any user, that user will get to see this app. Okay, this way you can edit more things also. Okay, you want to put some other permissions, object settings, other permissions, everything can be done here. Okay, so go to users and then open the user details. Scroll down a little, you will have this permission set assignment option. Okay, just click on edit assignment and give the permission set to the user. So see, as I told you, one user can have multiple permission sets, so you can put multiple permission sets to this user. Alright, you can create different permission sets and give it to the user. Other thing is while you are giving these permissions to the user, the moment you feel that this user has the user is done with his requirement of that particular permission, after some days, let's say Ravi was working on this HR assignment for 2 weeks, right? So after 2 weeks, when I feel that okay fine, now he does not need access to HR app anymore, then I will simply go and revoke the access, so remove the permission set from there. So nothing needs to be changed on the profile and all that stuff. Got it? So if it's a temporary thing, I'll just go back and I remove that permission set. So my profile does not get changed. I don't have to create a new profile or don't have to create a new user, nothing. Okay. So this is how we are going to keep things simple here for user permissions. Two things that we are going to deal with: profile and permission set. So profile is primary, permission set is secondary. Profile is required, mandatory. Permission set is optional. Profile has basically one profile can be assigned to a user, multiple permission sets can be assigned to a user. So this is the thing. All right. Okay.
So I mean, like permissions is going to override the profile settings, right?
No.
If there is a permissions defined.
Yes. So not override in terms of giving additional access, right?
Additional access. Okay.
Right. Correct. So you get certain permissions from your profile, and if you need some more permissions, or if a user requires a few additional permissions which is not available to his profile, then the permission set will work there. Okay. Now that's all about. Please go ahead.
Oh, sorry, actually I lost audio and I'm connecting through telephone. I guess I missed that. That permission set is for particular application or for the user, and
for the user.
Okay.
This is
So
all
those
the permission
permissions
set
will be
is
applicable
also,
on all the applications.
right. So it has not got anything to do with application. It is again the set of permissions. So permission set is just like a top-up that you do on your mobile phone, right? So
But like you selected the consultant manager for that profile.
So
So why
because
did you select that application?
No, because I wanted to give the permission to access that application to the user. Okay. So we are talking
Okay.
about the permission to work on that application. So that is the reason why you selected.
But
you could have selected anything.
But within that application, what permissions do they have?
No, this was just assigning that app, that whether this they have the permission to view this app under this list or not. Got it? App is just a small thing here, right? While we are talking about app permission or app setting, we are just talking whether they will get to see the app or not. Within the app,
Okay, but
nothing within the app. App is just a user interface, right? Inside app, as we can see these tabs and all. So for tab, you have different permissions, whether you want to see consultant tab or not. For that, there is separate permission.
yeah,
Whether
within tab we have different permissions, right? For tabs and views and everything. So what profile will be assigned to that within that tab?
can you come back with your question?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, no, right now you just explain the question once again. Sorry, I could not understand. There seems to be some concept issue. Okay.
Like Ravi is a user, sales. He has permissions for sales, and you have added permission set for that consultant manager app. So within that consultant manager app, what permissions does Ravi has? Like, can he be administrator or just the user, or what views he can see, what tabs he can see? How do we define that?
No, okay. So let us talk about this. Basically, you don't have to define within consultant manager what all he has and within this what all he has and not. While we are defining these permissions for profile and permission sets, forget about permission set. First of all, the profile concept is not clear. So while we are talking about profile, We are talking about which apps, which tabs, which objects, which fields, which admin permissions, which general user permission the user will have. So we are not going to go and define that, okay, under custom, under consultant manager he will do this, under this. So overall you have to define what all permissions he has, which all apps he can see, which all tabs he can see. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You got that point? So whether you will see this
Yeah.
tab or not, whether you will see this tab or not, that depends on your profile, right? Now, once you click on this tab, then what happens? You create a record under the consultant object, right? This goes into your object permission. Whether you have a create permission on object or not, that will define this thing. Fine. So these are all different things. There is nothing which is connected to the other thing. Correct? So when I say permission to the consultant manager app, I am talking about whether that person will see consultant manager app here or not. Got it? I don't have to define that inside this what he will be able to do. Overall, I am defining what this user can do, what he cannot, what all tabs he can see, what all objects. We are defining permissions at every stage, right? If you look into the profile,
Mm-hmm.
we are talking about permission at every stage. So you don't have to specifically go and define things like when you go to profile. Okay, while we are on profile. So here app setting means what? Just which app should be visible, which app should not be visible, that's it. Okay. Under this you don't have to go and define more permissions. Overall permissions for the user, which objects he can access, which tabs he can access, that you are controlling anyhow here. Got it?
Okay.
So like let me remove this consultant manager visibility from here. Okay. Now remove the consultant manager visibility from here. As a per profile. Which profile is this? Okay. For example, the inventory app. Now what I've done, I've removed the inventory app from here. Now that is the only thing that you have to control for a app. That is the only permission that you have to control for an app. Whether that app is visible to that profile or not visible. Correct? So you don't have to go further and define that what all permissions inside that app. Nothing like that. App itself is a component, right? So we are just talking about permission to that app, yes or no. Got it?
Okay.
And remaining everything is also are also components, objects, tabs. So we are defining permission at every level in the profile.
Okay.
Got that?
Yeah.
So that's about our profiles and permission set. So generally what we have talked about is for different components that we have within Salesforce, we control the permissions using profiles and permission sets. Okay. Now the next thing that we have here is data access. Okay. So we have talked about everything, but we have not talked about who will get to see which all data and the control, data access control or data sharing control. So this is the second thing which is very important.
So far we have been talking about different components, access and permissions. That's absolutely fine. Now the other thing is, think of a scenario. Let's say we all are part of the sales team and we all have the same profile, sales profile. Okay, and the sales profile allows us to see data in accounts, opportunities. We all get to see these things. Okay, we all get to see accounts, opportunities, contacts. Okay, so that is the sales profile that we have. All right, so we all get to see accounts. Let's say accounts. Now the problem is that Sai, who is a part of our team, he has sales profile. He can see accounts, and Matthew, he is also a part of the team. He can also see accounts, right? Now somehow, whenever Sai gets a new account, Matthew starts calling that account and tries to close the deal, tries to get a deal, though that is Sai's data. Okay, Matthew tries to always get into that deal and try to get into that account, talk to them and try to get a deal from there so that he can make more incentives. Okay, and Sai is really worried about it, that Matthew always comes and he views my accounts and then he starts calling my accounts and then he tries to get a deal out of that. Don't you think this will become a bit of challenge for the company? One, they will have a bad reputation with the client, two people from the same company calling them. Secondly, there will be a lot of conflict between these two people. Right? Thirdly, there will be no accountability for anyone, that why did not they get the deal, because both of them were trying. Now company does not know who should be the person to answer if they have not got a deal or something like that. Got that? So what do we need here? We need some mechanism to make sure that Matthew does not get to see Sai's data and Sai should not see Matthew's data. Got it? Though both of them can see accounts, but here our requirement is that they should not see all the accounts. Sai should only see the accounts that he owns. Okay, so there is a field called account owner, or for every object we have a field called owner field, right? For account, for opportunity, for contact, for everything we have that owner field, right? So this person should only see the accounts that he owns and Matthew should only see the accounts that he owns. Got it? Clear? So sometimes you do have this requirement to make the data private. So this will be achieved by making data private. So here what we have to do, we have to make the data private. For doing this, we have another concept called sharing settings. So the sharing settings is basically used for controlling the data access, okay, and the visibility of the data, making data public or private. How do you do that? Go to setup, then go to security controls, and then go to sharing settings. Setup, security controls, click on sharing settings. Okay. Now under sharing settings there are two things. One is called OWD, which stands for organization wide default. Okay, so this is the default sharing rule for the organization. And then there is sharing rule. So sharing rule can be defined for specific small groups or something. However, this OWD is specific to the entire organization. This is defined for the entire org. Alright. So what do we have to do here? We just have to click on edit and make accounts private. The problem is with accounts, right? So just go and make accounts private. I've made accounts private now. So the problem is solved. Now Matthew does not get to see Sai's accounts and Sai does not get to see Matthew's accounts. Correct? But because this is an organization wide sharing, this will, this will be imposed on the entire organization. So data across organization will become private, which means only the owner of the data will get to see that data. Others will not get to see. Correct? So this is an organization wide sharing rule. OWD it is called. So if you have a data which you want only visible to the owner of that record, then those objects you should make private, right? So this can be account, this can be opportunity, this can be something else, right? If you have data which you feel that everyone should get to see, irrespective of who the owner is, then you should keep it public. Again, in public you have two options: public read only, public read write. Public read only will allow others to see the data but not edit that. Public read write will allow everyone to go ahead and edit the data. Correct? Simple. But to edit the data on accounts, definitely a user should have that profile permission of account create, edit, delete. That permission he should have, right? If he does not have those permissions, then he will not get to see accounts at all. But this is for people who do have access to accounts. If I make it private, only the owner of the data will get to see the data. Others will not get to see the data. If I make it public, everyone in the company will get to see the data. Everyone will see everyone's data. Got it? So this is basically what data visibility. Just think about this. I'll give you another angle for this. You have
Jeet, question here.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. So you are making it public or private based on all across the organizations. So my question here is like, let assume that Sai and Matthew both are sales rep guys, and there is a manager who is on the top of them who wants to view all those records of Matthew and Sai and all the sales team records. So is there a possibility we can assign for that manager so that he can view all the records across organizations?
Yeah, that's a good question. We can do that, and we will learn how to do that in tomorrow's session. So we will, but that is possible. Fine.
Yeah.
So controlling through hierarchy and all that is possible, right? So I was just talking a little on this organization-wide sharing. Now, just think about this. Let's say I do have different service lines. I provide different types of services. Okay. Now I have, let's say for me, I'm talking about, I do have trainings and I do have consulting. Okay. Now what happens here when I'm doing the trainings and I'm doing the consulting as well? Now what happens here is there are different salespeople, doing the calls for training. There are different salespeople doing the calls for consulting companies and all, right? Now, I don't want anyone to, come and see all the data and stuff, right? If I have 10,000 accounts, from a company's perspective also, would a company want to display its or expose its entire data to all the users? Sometimes they might not want to show all the accounts, all the opportunities to everyone. They might not want to do that, right? So that is where again making the data private helps a lot. So a user only gets to see the records that he requires, that he owns, that he has to work on. That's it. So making data private helps in that way, right? Sometimes when there is a lot of collaboration required within the team, that I will need to call your record, you will need to call mine and all that stuff, then keep it public. so that everyone can see everyone's data and they can help in that way. Got it? So that is what we will just discuss today. We are going to get into the next level, as Sai was asking, that can we control the permissions using hierarchy and all that stuff. Yes, those things are possible, and we are going to go into that part. And how do we define exceptions to this OWD? That is also something which we are going to talk in tomorrow's session, right? So I'll see you all tomorrow, and we'll discuss further on this.